All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something pretty profound, a discovery made in one of the darkest places imaginable. It's about the one freedom, the only freedom that no one can ever take from you.
You know, this powerful line from Nietzsche, it was a favorite of psychiatrist Viktor Frankl, and for a very, very good reason. It is the absolute key to unlocking his incredible story of survival and what he learned about the human spirit when faced with the unimaginable.
So, this is the man we're talking about, Viktor Frankl. Before the war, he was this highly respected neurologist and psychiatrist in Vienna. But then, for 3 years, his life became a nightmare. He was a prisoner in Nazi concentration camps, including the infamous Auschwitz. And in the middle of all that suffering, he did something incredible. He didn't just endure, he observed. He paid attention, and he made a discovery that would change the world, all about our fundamental search for meaning.
Okay, so his entire philosophy, which he would later call logotherapy, it all started with a single, pretty startling question that he'd ask his patients, especially the ones who were right on the edge of giving up.
He'd look at them and ask straight up, why do you not commit suicide? And the answers, well, the answers were everything. They were the key. They revealed that one unique reason a person had to keep going. Maybe it was love for a child, or a talent they hadn't finished using, or just a precious memory they needed to hold on to. Whatever it was, that answer, that was their why. It was their anchor to life.
Now, to really get what he discovered, we kind of have to walk through his journey in the camps. He broke it down into these distinct psychological phases. And it all started with the first one, just the brutal, overwhelming shock of arrival.
The moment they got there, prisoners were put through this systematic process. It was designed to just completely annihilate who they used to be. First, there was that terrifying selection process right there at the train station. Then they took everything, every single possession. Then they shaved all their hair, and finally, they stripped away their very name.
And they were reduced to nothing more than a number. Frankl himself became prisoner 119104. Everything that made him him was gone. All that was left was what he called naked existence.
And look, nothing captures how final this was better than this one moment Frankl describes. He tried to save a manuscript, his entire life's work, hidden in his coat. But a veteran prisoner just looked at him, laughed, and yelled one word, shit. And in that one brutal moment, Frankl got it. He knew. He mentally just struck a line through his entire former life. It was over. Gone.
So after that initial wave of horror and shock, the mind has to do something to survive, right? It has to adapt. And this leads to the second phase Frankl observed, a deep, profound, and actually necessary apathy.
Now, when we hear apathy, we might think of laziness or just not caring. But that's not what this was. In the camps, it was a vital defense mechanism. It was a blunting of the emotions. Frankl even called it a kind of emotional death, and it was like building a protective shell around your own mind.
Just think about that shift for a second. Pity? Gone. It turned into indifference. Horror? That became detachment. Prisoners saw things every single day, death, suffering, that would have been completely unbearable just a few weeks earlier, and they felt nothing.
And this is where Frankl had this huge insight. In a world that was completely insane, this emotional death, it wasn't an abnormal reaction. It was a perfectly sane and totally necessary one. It's where he came up with that famous line, an abnormal reaction to an abnormal situation is normal behavior. But here's the thing, even after everything was stripped away, your identity, your dignity, even your ability to feel, Frankl discovered there was one thing left, one final thing, something that could never be taken away.
And this question right here, this is the absolute core of his entire philosophy. When you take everything external away from a person, what is actually left?
The answer, as he wrote, is this: the last of human freedoms, the ability to choose one's attitude in a given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. And he saw proof of it all around him. He saw prisoners who were starving, who were beaten, who would still find it in themselves to comfort someone else or give away their very last piece of bread.
You see, the people who survived best, they often had what Frankl called weapons of the soul. They figured out how to retreat into this rich inner world. They'd find strength in the memory of someone they loved, or they'd find a moment of beauty in a sunset over the barbed wire,
Or maybe they'd just share a dark, grim joke with someone. These were their weapons.
And for Frankl himself, his personal salvation came from the vivid image of his wife. While he was marching for miles to a forced labor site, he'd have entire conversations with her in his head, and it proved something to him, something profound, that a man who has literally nothing left in this world can still find true bliss, even if it's just for a moment, by focusing on the person he loves.
So all of these incredibly profound experiences, they became the foundation for his entire approach to therapy. He ended up developing a whole new kind of psychotherapy that, well, it didn't look to a person's past to dig up trauma. Instead, it looked to their future to find meaning.
He called it logotherapy, and its core idea is something he called the will to meaning. Frankl basically argued that what really drives us as human beings isn't the search for pleasure or even the search for power. It's something way deeper. It's the need to find and chase after a meaning for our lives.
Like he famously said, to live is to suffer, to survive is to find meaning in the suffering. But, and this is so important, he wasn't saying there's some universal secret meaning out there waiting for us. No, he said each and every one of us has to find our own unique purpose, and then we have to accept the responsibility of actually living it.
And that brings us right back to where we started, with that Nietzsche quote. Frankl's whole life, everything he went through, became a living testament to this one truth. He who has a why to live can bear with almost any how. Having a purpose, a why, it's not a luxury. As Frankl proved, it is the ultimate tool for survival, for resilience.
So Frankl's story leaves us with this powerful challenge, one that reaches way beyond the barbed wire of the concentration camps. It's a question for every single one of us, right here, right now. What's your why? What is it that gives your life meaning?